Alright, today I want to talk about the Beatles' second album. It's not really their second album because it's their second album on the Capitol label, but there was another company that, for lawyer reasons, managed to get hold of their albums or their songs first and issued a first album a few weeks before the Beatles' first album, before Meet the Beatles. So this is called the second album, and the actual British second album with the Beatles was cut up, and half of it, most of it, was on Meet the Beatles, but the other half, the covers, were on here. So let's go through some of the tracks. So it starts off with Roll Over Beethoven, which is a cover of a Chuck Berry song, which didn't come out that long before this, and George Harrison sings it. And this one has been revamped in stereo for the new version of the Red Album. That's followed by Thank You Girl, which was the B-side of the With Love From Me to You single. Then comes You Really Got a Hold on Me. It's another one that is revamped on the Red Album in better stereo. And then Devil in Her Heart. You Really Got a Hold of Me, Devil in My Heart. Those are both from With the Beatles. Money, that's also from the Beatles. And then You Can't Do That, which is actually from an album that had not come out yet when this was made. It's from the soundtrack of A Hard Day's Night, but they put it on this album instead in America, so the Americans got to hear this song first. Alright, and You Can't Do That also has a revamped stereo version on the Red Album, but this is on mono. And the mono mix, a lot of people prefer the mono mix of Beatles stuff, and for the later stuff, I don't understand why they prefer the mono mix. But for this stuff, this stuff was recorded on a 2-track recorder, and the mono actually sounds better to me than stereo, at least the older stereo versions. But this album was available in both stereo and mono. Now, the B-side starts off with Long Tall Sally and I Call Your Name, which were both from an upcoming EP called Long Tall Sally. This is half of that EP, and again, Americans got it first. That's followed by Please Mr. Postman, which is from With the Beatles, and I actually prefer the Beatles version to this. Same with You Really Got a Hold on Me and this Please Mr. Postman. I prefer the Beatles version to the originals. And then finally the album closes with a single that's been folded into this album. She Loves You is the last song. It was the A-side, and I'll Get You is the second to last song. That was the B-side of that single. So that's what's on here, and as I said, I remember seeing advertisements for the mono version of Sgt. Pepper, and I've heard it, and I don't see what the big deal is, why it's so great about it, but I much prefer the stereo for that. But with this older stuff, the mono is better, though I don't like this as much as Meet the Beatles. In spite of the fact it's got some songs that I really like Mr. Postman and You Really Got a Hold on Me, it just doesn't sound as good in mono. Well, it's not the mono that's the problem, it's just because the energy is not there that Meet the Beatles had. Meet the Beatles was a really good start for them, and this is, as I said, I like every Beatles song, but these are not my favorites. And I'm sure that's it. It's just the selection of songs.